The spread of the coronavirus is one of the most serious health issues of our lifetime. Indiana has issued a stay-at-home order, with many exceptions. One such exception can be found in the Indiana Executive Order 20-08, Article 7, Subsection C, which states that travel to engage in outdoor activities such as walking, hiking, running, or biking is allowed as long as complying with social distance requirements. Well, social distancing is kind of our specialty. Follow along on this quick day adventure in this dystopian future we currently find ourselves in.
Hey folks, Sloan's here. We have escaped quarantine. We are out on the road. Well, technically here in Indiana, we will start a stay-at-home order on Wednesday. It is right now Tuesday. But even with that order, it still says that we are allowed to get outside into the outdoors and stay healthy and do healthy activities like hiking and biking, as long as we follow the CDC rules of distance and such. So we are headed here today to Salamonie River State Forest. It's an area I know well. I've been coming out here really since I was a kid. So Falls Trail. Nobody else here. Just what we wanted to see. Alright, we're going to start our hike here today at Salamonie River State Forest from the Three Falls Trailhead. It's an easy spot kind of in the middle of the forest to find and just kind of take off on all of the trails from there. And there are many trails out here, many unmarked trails, as well as horse trails. So we're just going to explore. So the first part of this trail once was a primitive campground here in the state forest. Me and my brothers and all used to camp here quite often, do some hiking and fishing, and it's just amazing to see the area now, how grown up it's become. I like that they now have trail markers out here at Salamonie. Back in the 80s and 90s, there were no trail markers whatsoever. You just went out and made your own trail. So it's not a very long hike at all from the trailhead until you get to the waterfalls here on the Three Waterfalls Trail. Notice we finally got some spring flowers popping up. This is the route that in the past I used to always take to get down below the waterfall. As I get older, it seems sketchier and sketchier. So that route down is really, really muddy, sloppy muddy. And we would end up on our butts sliding all the way into the creek. So we're going to go the long way, take the route along the top of the bluff and find our way down towards the end of that, and then work our way back up the creek. So from up here on the bluffs, at least during this time of the year when the leaves are still down, you can actually get a pretty good view of the dual waterfalls over there, and off to our left another small waterfall. You know, I never see them from this angle because I'm always in the creek when I come here. Whoa, buddy. What in the world? I don't know that I've ever seen bright red mushrooms or fungus or whatever that is. Wow, I was so busy looking at the creek. I about passed that right up. never seen this waterfall with much of a flow. In fact, most of the time it's dry. Alright, we climbed out of the little canyon down there with the waterfalls. We're heading east on the trail now. That's a Salamonie River down there. That's pretty high, considering it is a dam-controlled river. A lot of these ravines, when they empty out right before the river, have small waterfalls. This is my kind of social distancing. Alright, I have always liked that little waterfall there. Rarely has it got a heavy flow like most of the waterfalls here, but it's still pretty, and frankly it was one of the first waterfalls I ever seen in my life when I was a kid, so I always have a special place. But now let's go check out the Salamonie River, since it's pretty up right now. It's not often I see the river roaring like this. It looks like the dam is just open downstream, or I guess that'd be upstream. Well, we made it into the old CCC encampment. I think it's now known as the Hominy Ridge picnic area. It'll just be a good little place for us to take a break and have some lunch.
Yep.
Alright, we had us a little bit of lunch there at the CCC picnic area. Now we've climbed down the hill from there to get a look at the dam. Can't say for sure, but that sure looks like potentially one of the Indian directional trees. What do you think, Catfish?
Sure looks like one, doesn't it? Also looks like a carving tree.
Well, yeah, there's North American knuckleheads will carve on anything given the chance. so quiet out here. It really is a kind of a post-apocalyptic feel in the world these days. And the quietness of this forest just kind of adds to that. I think we're done with our hike here in the state forest for now, and but we've got some more sights to see in the area, so let's go see what we can find. We are now at Hanging Rock National Natural Landmark. It is a huge rock that just juts up out of the ground along the side of the Wabash River. There is nothing quite like it along this river for another 100 miles downstream at least. So it's got a lot of history behind it. There are a few other people here at the preserve, and we've been trying to avoid people today, so we'll try to get pictures and video of what we can.
Hanging Rock rises 80 feet above the Wabash River. It is part of the Wabash Reef, formed more than 400 million years ago during the Silurian period, when Indiana was covered by a shallow sea. Corals, sponges, and other marine life flourished along these coral reefs. Over time, it was buried and compressed into layers of limestone and dolomite. About 13,000 years ago, the Wabash River was inundated by the Maumee Torrent, a cataclysmic flood from a large glacial lake that released its contents and carved out what we now know as the Wabash Valley. Hanging Rock's harder dolomite resisted erosion and left this monolith for us to see. The legend of Hanging Rock is a story of two Indian braves that fought over an Indian maiden on top of Hanging Rock. When the brave that the maiden truly loved was thrown off the rock, the maiden then threw herself off as well.
Well, there's a photographer down below, and we didn't want to get in his shots, and trying to maintain our social distancing. So we decided to take the trail behind the rock and actually climb up it. You making it, Catfish? Alright, that wasn't so hard. Believe it or not, I've visited Hanging Rock quite a few times over the years. I've never come to the top of it until today. It's a pretty cool view, huh, Catfish?
Yeah.
Alright, most of what we've done today I've done many times in my life here, but being on top of Hanging Rock is something that's super easy to do. I've just never done it. So there is the Hanging Rock itself, which fell off a long time ago. This is why I find geology and all the rocky places we visit so interesting. Just thinking about the fact that this that we're staring at here is basically limestone laid down hundreds of millions of years ago when this part of Indiana was under a shallow sea. It's just fascinating to me.
Interesting.
It is. There you go. Hanging Rock and Wabash Reef, National Natural Landmark. Alright, well, Hanging Rock was pretty darn cool. It's always neat just seeing that. And you know, I've said something about how that's the only kind of rock outcrop like that on the Wabash River for like 100 miles. Interesting fact, the next spot to find something like that is actually just beyond Lafayette at Black Rock Preserve, one of the Niches Land Trusts, which I've actually done a video of before too. Our last stop here today. We are by an area that is very sacred to the Miami Indians. It's a place called the Cliffs of the Seven Pillars. So this is the Mississinewa River. We're just a short ways downstream from the Mississinewa Reservoir and Dam. Yep, straight across from us. Really cool rock formations. Maybe someday we should come down here with our kayaks when the river level is a little bit lower. We could paddle over there and actually go into those little caves and alcoves. Alright, I think that is going to do it today for our little busting out of quarantine adventure. What did you think about today's adventure, Catfish?
The plant life there was cool because now it's finally springtime. Although there was not much there for birds.
Yeah, Salamonie?
Yeah.
Yeah, Salamonie did not have much bird action. Typically I see eagles there, but I think with the water flow being so high that they weren't hanging out in that particular area. What about the other areas we went to?
Hanging Rock was pretty cool. It was interesting to know just how old that limestone was.
Yeah, 420 million years old.
Silurian.
Yeah, it's crazy. And of course here, some awesome rock formations as well. And of course just seeing all the cool waterfalls and such. They may not be big waterfalls, but they're still cool little features there at Salamonie.
Yep.
So I guess we're going to have to head back home now and obey our shut-in order. Until next time.
Peace out.
out.